10 American cities, millions of homes. By 2100, they could all be underwater. Sea levels have already risen nearly 9 inches since 1880, and the pace is speeding up. Today, we're counting down the 10 U.S. cities most at risk of catastrophic flooding by the end of this century. Two forces are driving this: warming oceans expanding in volume and glaciers and ice sheets melting at an accelerating rate. The IPCC projects seas could rise between 1 and 3.6 feet globally by 2100, but in many coastal regions, land is also sinking. That double threat makes flooding far worse than the global average suggests. These rankings are based on the share of housing units projected to fall in risk zones by 2100 under a worst-case emissions scenario. Number 10, Charleston, South Carolina. 50.6% of homes at risk. A historic city already battling tidal floods today. Number 9, Hampton, Virginia. 50.9% at risk, part of the deeply vulnerable Hampton Roads region on the East Coast. Number 8, Norfolk, Virginia. 51.6% at risk, a major naval port plagued by low elevation and severe land subsidence. Number 7, Hollywood, Florida. 59.8% at risk, home to a famous beach and boardwalk, and 71.8% of new housing value is already being built in flood zones. Number 6, Miami Gardens, Florida. 71.4% at risk, an inland city proving that sea level rise reaches far beyond the shoreline. The top 5 are all in South Florida, a region so exposed that developers are still building in known flood zones. Number 5, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 73.4% of housing units at risk. 90% of new construction is going up in flood zones right now. Number 4, Hialeah, Florida. 90.7% at risk. A staggering 99.7% of new housing units are being built in vulnerable areas. Number 3, Davie, Florida. 91.8% at risk. Every single new housing unit and dollar of new housing value sits in a flood zone. Number 2, Pembroke Pines, Florida. 94.5% of homes projected to be at risk, one of the highest rates of existing home exposure in the country. And number 1, Miramar, Florida. 95.2% of all housing units in projected risk zones. 100% of new housing units and new housing value are already being built in flood territory. The entire city is on borrowed time. The stakes go beyond property values. Flooding threatens roads, power grids, and water systems, and will displace millions of people. But these projections assume the worst. Reducing emissions changes the trajectory, and coastal communities are already experimenting with solutions: seawalls, elevated structures, and restoring natural buffers like wetlands and mangroves. The decisions made in the next few decades will determine whether these cities adapt or disappear. The water is already rising. The question is how fast we respond.